And when I got children, I already visited 100 countries. So since I got children, I visited 68 new countries.
Hello, and welcome aboard for more conversation with an extraordinary traveller. Presented in partnership with Travel Daily News Asia Pacific, welcome to this latest episode of Traveller's World. Elena, I'm in awe because travelling for me has challenges and I can't comprehend travelling with baby. You've travelled with and started travelling with a 6-month-old baby. Can you tell me your story of travels and the challenges of travelling with a baby?
Well, I'm originally from Russia, and I moved to live to Austria when I was 19. And then I settled down in Sweden, and first I traveled by myself in Europe. And some years later I got married, I got children. So at the moment I have 3 children, they age 9, 7 and 1-year-old. And I think where I really started to travel a lot to off the beaten track destinations, it's when I got the second daughter. So with the first child I just took it easy. I traveled first within Europe from when my daughter was 3 months old. And then we traveled to Oman, Israel by her first birthday. So when I got the second daughter, I traveled around the world for 8 months with 2 children. One daughter, she was 6 months, and the other was not even 3. So that's how I started traveling with 2.
Amazing. So it's not like your children saying, when do we see you again? You take your children with you on your travels.
Especially when children are small, until the age of 2, they're traveling with you for free. So I'm taking them everywhere because in Sweden, I live in Sweden and I'm a single mother because I'm married, but my husband, he lives in Mauritania. So I don't have a babysitter, I don't have any family in Sweden, so I take small children with me.
What destinations have you been to that have been the most challenging for you to travel with children in tow? Has there been a place where you thought, this is really challenging?
There was one moment when I took my son, when he was 7 months old, we traveled to Afghanistan. So he was already experienced traveler by that time because he visited 6 continents by 6 months. He has been to Socotra, Yemen. Before that, we traveled for 3.5 weeks through Micronesia. And then we traveled to Pakistan to attend Kailash Valley festival. And then I was planning to travel overland to Afghanistan. The border was closed at that moment for a day, so we took a flight. And on the way back, I still wanted to travel overland. So crossing the border overland from Afghanistan back to Pakistan was the most challenging for me. Because when we arrived on the Pakistani side, there was a protest. So we exited the Afghani side, we got the exit stamp. I had a single entry visa for Afghanistan. So we said goodbye to Afghanistan, we're happy, we had a really great trip, and then we left it. But we could not enter the Pakistani side. We were stuck at the border for 5 hours, waiting for the Pakistani side to let us enter. And it didn't happen. And this is one of the craziest borders in the world. Everybody's shouting, the boxes are flying, somebody's like throwing something. So it was not the best border. And then Pakistani side said, sorry, we can't let you enter. You need to go back to Afghanistan.
Some people might say you're not a caring mother. Who takes their children to these potentially high-risk destinations? It's not as if you're going to a holiday resort in Spain or in Greece. You're really going to very dynamic and daring destinations.
Well, I consider myself an experienced traveler and experienced mother because by now I visited 168 countries. And when I got children, I already visited 100 countries. So since I got children, I visited 68 new countries. And with the first child, I was I took it easy. I was learning like how to be a mother, which tools I should bring, what I should do. With the second one, I was already more confident. And with the third one, after years of traveling, where it's safe, how to behave. For example, I never take children to most countries in Africa because of malaria. Because you can't do anything to protect them there. So for me, Afghanistan is not a dangerous destination in the sense of not being able to protect them from diseases.
Do your children know where home is? Do they ever say, Mum, where is home?
I know where the home is, but since we're a multicultural family, I'm originally from Russia. My daughter's father, he's from Pakistan, and they were born in Sweden. So they don't identify themselves as only Swedish or Russian or Pakistani. They're international. They speak 3 languages. So they know that the home is Sweden, but at the same time they would feel home in Pakistan and in Russia.
Do they have that same passion for travel that you have?
Yes, but in a different way. My younger daughter, she loves animals. So for her, when she travels, she wants to have animal encounters everywhere. And my elder daughter, she's 9, so now she's becoming to be, she's turning into a teenager. So now her preferences are I would like to go to New York. I saw some shops there I would like to visit. So it's changing. But they still love traveling, but they start to have their own focus.
And for you, what would be the most amazing travel experience you've had, either meeting people or meeting wildlife and scenery? What's the most outstanding memory you have of your travels?
Well, generally when I travel, I try to stay in couch surfing. So it means I stay with local families. I don't like hotels. I don't like taking taxis because you are in your isolated bubble. And you would never remember hotels you stayed in with your children because they're all the same. But you would always remember families. So for example, now we stayed in Kazakhstan in a family who have 4 children. And I would always remember the memories how the children were playing with my baby.
How do you link up with these families then? How do you find them?
There is a webpage, Couchsurfing. So you're just supposed to surf their couch, stay with them for free, get to know them. And this is a great way to not only to save money, but more to connect to the culture.
Very enriching lifestyle for your children to grow up seeing all these world cultures, isn't it? Absolutely amazing. Coming to food, my favourite topic, what destinations would you say have provided the most tasty experiences for you and your kids?
I would say that it's mostly for me, because I'm a foodie and I love to try all different type of food. That's why when I travel, first I always look what are the top interesting, unusual food. And this is for me Asia. And my favorite country is Japan. I love sushi. And even for my elder daughter, she was just 3 years old. And now she's 9 and she still remembers the matcha ice cream.
And when you travel to a destination, is it for a week or are you staying there for an extended period to really understand the culture and have a real experience of the place?
It all depends. For example, if I travel to dangerous for children destinations, I would go alone. And then I would go for a short period. Then I would need to come back to them fast, to Sweden.
What place would you say or recommend not to take children to?
Most part of Africa where there is malaria, because there is no vaccination yet and the pills are not safe and not good for children. So I would wait till they get at least teenagers, so they're almost grown-ups. But otherwise, I think most parts of the world, they love children everywhere. It's Middle East, South America, Pacific, everywhere. So I think the most part of the world you can take your children without any problems.
So if there's a woman listening or watching this episode in our conversation and they've had this dream to travel, but they've held back because they've got young children, what would your recommendation be? Should they fight their fear and get on a plane and travel with their kids? Or should they stay at home until their kids have grown up and fled the nest?
I think that if a person is an experienced traveler themselves, then don't wait. You can stay at home the first 3 months to get used to the child, to learn about the child. And then I think the best time to travel is when children are between 3 months old till they start crawling and walking away. Because if you start late traveling with children, they will get comfortable staying at home. They will not be easy and flexible travelers. Now with my children, I can sleep in the airport, in couch surfing, in a mattress in somebody's family. They think it's normal because it's been all their lives. So I would not wait.
What happens with, say, you're traveling and your eldest child reached 5, 6? What happens about schooling? Because then you can't travel the world and have a constant schooling program. How did you manage that and balance education of your children with travel?
Well, then I would travel with them mostly in the summer, because in Sweden we have 2 months of summer vacation. And during the year, if they're still going into primary school, you can take 1 week extra around Christmas holidays, around Easter. just to avoid crowds, not to have the most expensive flights, like take a little bit before and after. And in most destinations, when you travel with children, 2 weeks are quite good amount of time to get to know the culture and the country.
Taking out your home from the equation, Sweden, and all the places you visited, where would you like to call home?
Well, I think one of my favorite countries in Europe is Spain. So I always say that when I retire, I would love to live in Spain because I love the weather, the culture, I speak Spanish.
Food?
Food, and Spanish people, they also love children, and it's just the culture is more open-minded, and it's not far away, because maybe you would like to go to faraway destinations, but then your family is so far, you don't want to be isolated living in Australia when you have whole family in Europe. So I think Spain would be a good choice.
A woman who's travelling, or about to travel, with a 6-month-old baby, what's your recommendation for packing in a backpack? Baby wipes?
The most important is the baby carrier, because you cannot go with strollers everywhere, and the child always feels secure close to the mother or the father. So baby carrier is important. A small baby stroller, which you preferably can take on the airplane, because then it's nice when you arrive to the destination, the child is sleeping, you just put the child in the stroller and do the immigration, passport controls. And then now when I was traveling with my third child, we were going to destinations like North Korea, like Afghanistan, Micronesia, and everywhere where maybe the food, baby food is not available. And I would not give them like the local food. So I would bring all the baby food with me. And of course milk, and depends what the baby eats. But the baby food I would take, and a lot of wipes for the flight.
So my last question for you is, we're meeting in Bangkok at this extraordinary travel festival. Where's next on your wish list of places to visit?
Well, I'm traveling with my baby in January to the Pacific. So we're going to visit Tuvalu, Samoa, and Vanuatu.
Why those places? What's the draw card for you to go there?
Well, I have only 25 countries left to visit to complete 193. And out of them are 19 in Africa, so I cannot take my baby there. And I have 6 countries left in the Pacific. And Papua New Guinea maybe is not the best baby-friendly destination, so I would like to experience all the tribes alone without the baby. So I'm just now choosing the destinations which are still baby-friendly, and I can travel there to a new country.
Do you have a blog? Are you writing a book? Is there a web page? How can we track your travels?
I have an account in Instagram, which is called Adventures with Daughters. I started it before I got my son, so I might need to update the name, but it's Adventures with Daughters. I have also my Facebook page, and I promised to myself that when I complete 193 and children grow a little bit, I want to focus to write a book about our experiences.
Fantastic. I'm going to check you out on Instagram and also waiting for the book. Thank you so much for meeting with us today for Traveller's World. I wish you a successful afternoon and tomorrow at the Extraordinary Travel Festival, and keep travelling with kids.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Cut.